Yep.
Hi. Very good. Yeah.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. We have recording and streaming live. Just want to provide you with an update. So we were out for a couple of days here, but we're back in the swing of things. Just wanted to let you know what's going on. I think we're going to start off today by marking up the charts and showing you what we have going on. So I'm going to start off with gold. Let me share that screen right now.
Okay.
So I said I was going to start off with sharing gold. And we
Yes.
can mark up the charts live because it's kind of fresh on our previous discussion we just had with Donnie as well.
Exactly.
So share screen, window. There she is. Share. All right. So what we're going to start with right here is seeing this is today, and this is live, and this is on the 1 hour time frame. Let's see, what am I currently involved in here? I am currently waiting for this I have a buy limit set, and my buy limit is set for when price drops down to 47.15 when it hits this right here. When it drops all the way down to the 10 moving average, then it's going to automatically buy for me. I'm going to buy with a lot size of 0.1. And I'm going to try to take it up to right about this point because this seems to be holding steady around this 47.2838. So what I did is I created a buy limit saying when it hits this price, go in and buy. But let me see here. Hold on 1 second. I apologize. Let me see. So the first thing we do right here is going to mark this up where this is a small demand zone. So what I would do here is just mark up the base. So I'm going to do that as an Alt-J. That's the keyboard shortcut. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to drop this below right here. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to mark it as a support line and base. I'm also going to go down here and mark the low because that's the low for recent time. So same thing, right click on that. And I created these templates. We can show you how to do that, but it's support line and low. So therefore we have this, okay? So this is what we're looking at. This support line right here, it's been breached 1, 2, 3, the support line's gone. Okay, so there's that. There's a very small demand zone. Right here, we do have a larger supply zone, so I am gonna mark that. If you want to see just for confirmation, again, I have a template I created for fib, but if we go from the top of this down to the bottom here, you can see that this is less than 50% of that move. So that counts. So that is a valid supply zone. So let me mark that here. Four-hour supply zone. And it would help if I mark that on the 1 hour because I'm not on the 4 hour. So let me redo that. Template 1 hour supply zone. There we go. I'm also going to get rid of this because this has been breached 3 times as well. This line over here. So I want to remove that. It's yesterday's info. And so here's what we're looking at. So on this trade earlier today, we were waiting for this to drop down. It did. It dropped down to here. We got in. While we were on with Donnie. This one right here, actually, it dropped down to here to about the 20. We got in, rode it up to right about here, which is the base. And then once it hit there, which also explains why TP2 was right there, because that's at the front wall of the demand zone. So let me move this over here so I'm looking at it straight ahead. But you guys can see what I'm talking about. So we have this bottom wall.
Just to stop you there a moment. So that was the trade that we did this morning on Live with Donnie, where many people got in on it and made money at that moment, right in the training session with him.
Yep, I hit 66.50. And I got in a second late.
Right. Just so that, our audience, people that were watching, know the value of that hour we spend with Donnie every morning.
Yep, and when he got and when he got off, that's what he said. He's like, yeah, he jumped in and waited for it to pull back to the 20 and he got in and he said that's still a good trade. But we were also waiting for it to pull back to the 10. So for a bunch of people, if you want to be really safe and go for a bigger win, that's a safer entry because you're waiting for it to pull back here. But with the news and tweets coming out of the White House, we just have to be careful because
Correct.
that can influence things 24/7. And Donnie did point out that anything coming out of the White House, and there has been some activity there today with Trump speaking about Iran, and that could dramatically change things. So you just have to be very vigilant when trading in this sort of environment.
One of the things Donnie touched on today was that here was his takeaway today. You have the secrets. So we've all learned what to do in the trading, and we have those secrets. He said the only difference between us and Wall Street is Wall Street, they have the capital. And he talked about his main account that he does and the contracts, that he does. And he does full ones, anywhere from 1 to 3. And what that additional capital can do and leverage and earn on a trade. He had a trade this morning where he was up $16,000 he made in a trade, and I think that was one full lot. And then he also spoke about a friend who uses Einstein, which we have. But in the last, I don't know the period of time, but a relatively short period of time, he's up over $4 million using Einstein. But he's trading, larger lot size, like 100 lots at a time. But relying on the technology of Einstein, which we have. So you have traders that are Wall Street traders. I'll say Wall Street. They're not necessarily there because you can work anywhere in the world today, but have the capital to put in. So you can see, if you follow what he says, we have the secrets, and then we can increase our capital amounts so that our wins are bigger, and also minimizing any losses when they come through. That really hit me today with him.
Yep. And I mean, I am going to be fully transparent about that too, is, sometimes, and I'm going to show you one of my accounts just to be, again, I don't mind sharing with you what happened here. I, over the weekend, or the other day, got, some money came in. And so I put a little bit into an account, and I strictly, what do we say over the weekend of Bitcoin? Follow the 4-hour on Einstein and trade the wins, expecting there to be minimal news over the weekend. Well, I took 2 Einstein trades. Oh my gosh, can't hide that. Okay, can you guys see that on that screen? No, actually, I have to share that screen, I think. Where is it? Right here. Let me share the screen. Sharing, share, window, the one that we're on. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, 2 trades. Okay, right here. I can put 225 in. First trade, which was, again, a very good trade. 0.3 and 0.2 with the lot sizes I did.
Because both of them. That means dollar wise. How much money?
Yeah. So on this one, on the 225, basically I had the opportunity to, here, actually, see if I can pull up this instead. There we go. Actually, I think that's better. The position size calculator. Yeah. All right. So we're going to do, actually, this might not show me gold. I forget if it does. It does. XAU USD. Account size, $225. Risk ratio of, let's see. Let's sell at 20%. Swap with money. Actually, this would have been good. So if I did this, 0.2, 0.2. Let's say 40. And let's say money USD. Let's say I'm willing to lose 200. Calculate. So this would be recommending if I was willing to lose $200, 0.03 lots. So what I did here, okay, what it is the lot size is there's micro lots, mini lots, and standard lots. It has to do with the more money that you're going to be basically putting in on the position. So on this one, if I had put in a 0.02 or a 0.03, if I had done right here, I did a point. Where is it? A 0.3. Okay, so if I had done a 0.03 and lost, I would have lost 1/10 of this roughly. That would have been 1949. But I took a bigger position on it because I also had the leverage. So you can see they gave me 2024 to play with in terms of the leverage that I had on this account. So what happened was the first position went through and I had a stop loss set. It went up about like $40 and I was waiting for it to hit my take profit. And we talked about on Einstein for Bitcoin doing take profit too. And that's what it's primarily hitting 84% of the time. Well, these two trades within an hour of each other were part of that 16%. It didn't work in my favor. But I'm just going to be fully transparent here too and show that it is working. I just literally got in at the probably worst time. So what is this? This was on the 19th. Right here. So I got in on this. Okay. And TP2 was around like, let's say like right here. I think it was like around like here. It was like TP2. So I got in on this and was taking it up and I was doing very good. But again, I set it and forget it because I trust my numbers and I trust my information. I had my stop loss set just behind here. Well, it went up and then dropped back down below the supply zone. So I got stomped out. Then there was another short call that came up, and I want to say it was here. And it only flashed for a minute. But I figured, okay, I'll take it off right now. If you look at where that trade went, if I zoom in, it's right, comes off to that front wall and comes up. So this was an engulfing candle. It came down to the front wall and it started pulling back up. It started pulling. Now it's like, you know what? I'll take this. And it jumped in and then dropped down relatively quickly. And that one was smaller because the balance was smaller. So I lost 51.80. So those were two quick losses. But as I said before, when trading gold, there's a specific balance size that I think you need to have. And I was trying to get big wins. So I had a very big risk reward ratio right here. And this is bigger than normal. This is not what I would normally do. I was just trying to take advantage of it was a weekend. On the weekend, we typically play buys. And we trust that Einstein is going to work the 84% of the time historically based on what we're seeing. That's great. Again, 16% is still a real number. It's just under 1 out of every 5 times. So yeah, these two were back-to-back losses, and odds say that next one was going to be very profitable, which, by the way, what did it do? It bounced off the 66 and shot through to the moon.
And where were you?
I was out. I had no more money left in that account, so I'm very strict on that, and it's actually been very beneficial. If I have a certain amount of money that I'm willing to use in my position based on my information, and I lose that, then I'm out. Like that's my number. And by doing that, I don't end up having big losses. It's never something more than what I'm comfortable with, and it's really been a big help. Let me share the screen instead. Hold on 1 second, so you can see what I was doing here, because I believe I was sharing the other screen, but. Where is that? Right here. Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. So on this trade right here, because I don't think you can see that, but I got in right here. Actually, where's the 19th? Nope. 19th. Right here. I got in on this and was taking it up to about here. Is that where I believe TP2 was? Right in this vicinity right here. and it hit TP1, was going up to TP2, and then it fell off the table. And I said when it came down here to the front wall, it started to pull back. So I played the bounce off the front wall, which was a little bit aggressive. Okay. And the reason being, this is an engulfing candle. So because we have an engulfing candle, what would the typical play is to wait for it to pull back to here. And because this created a demand zone, would wait for it to pull back. I mean, a supply zone would wait for it to pull back to here and then would take the sell. So what I was doing is got in here, was waiting for it to come back to here. Then I was going to take the sell back down. It went up. I got in at about like probably here on the pullback. And I set my stop loss to here. I mean, my take profit to here, and it dropped back down and wiped out my account. So that was fine. It was just 2 losses, but it wasn't wrong. And this is what we talk about balance size. And this is why that was kind of stupid of me, because I should have done a smaller number and then built up the account and then gone from there. But because I did a higher risk reward ratio, I had a specific goal I wanted to hit in about an hour or two. The market doesn't care about my goals. The market doesn't care about my timeline. And what happened is it did come down to the 66, and then it did exactly as we expected. It bounced off the 66, and then it shot all the way up to here. So that's 79,501, and this is 73, roughly 829. So, I mean, that's a significant play. That would have been, even if I did that at like a 0.05, that would have been probably $400 or $500 minimum for me, if not more, if I had played smaller numbers. So I was aware of that. I took a bigger risk because I wanted a bigger play out of the gate, and then I wanted to use it, but I lost. And that's part of the deal. And part of it was over aggression and letting emotions and other things impact my decision rather than just trusting the numbers. So that's going to happen from time to time, and you just learn. But as I said this morning on Donnie's trade, I'm in for 66. I was up for 66.50. And right now, if I go to gold, based on our conversation this morning as well, I'm waiting for it on the 1 hour, not the 4 hour. I want to zoom in. Yeah. So I'm waiting for it right now to come back down. It's at 47.31. I'm waiting for it to come back down to this 10 moving average, which is the 50% line of the 1 hour demand zone, of this demand zone. So if it comes down to there, I have a buy limit. It's going to automatically buy for me, and then it's going to sell. My take profit's going to be right here, and my stop loss is just below this right here, just outside the demand zone. I thought that was an important one, though, because I think that, like, if I take that trade on Bitcoin and I do that for probably 5 weekends, historically, I'm going to win probably 3 to 4 of those weekends. I'm going to be profitable. And there are times where, I mean, there is risk. So sometimes you will lose, and that's okay. That's just what happens. Let me see this. Okay, so if I do that, modify. So let me go to the 4 hour here, because I haven't marked up my 4 hour today. So if I go to my 4 hour, first of all, those lines are there from the 1 hour because I have them carrying over. It's a very small, that was a good pattern now. Demand zone. I'm just going to do this as a base. Okay. This is definitely a supply zone right here. Right click template, 4 hour supply zone. Another one right here. And this is, again, one of those things that once this comes out built into Einstein, it's just going to save so much time. I can't wait. And looks like we're going to have a cross right here. 66 is about to cross the 200, but 20 is still heading way down. That's a big supply zone too. My God. So funny looking, but. All right. This demand zone, let's just check it out quickly. Demand zone, okay. Supply zone flipped 1. And it hasn't come back up. So this is no longer a demand zone. This is a supply zone flipped 1. 4 hour supply zone flipped 1. And again, flipped 1 is just my terminology. And notice how there's no 50% line in the middle. So in order for me to fix that, I want to click on this. I want to go to style, middle line. I want it to be white. I'm going to make it a little bit tighter on the dots. There we go. Go back to here. Visibility, text. There we go. I'm going to save it as 4 hour supply zone flipped 1. Reapply the template. Can I not do it? Oh, that was not my best moment, everyone. Sorry about that. But these zones are huge. No, I didn't. I thought I did. White. All right, let me do that. And now let me save it. Save as 4 hour supply zone flipped 1. Save. Perfect. Got it. All right. So there that is. That's pretty much the only markings I have for that for today. And we'll be watching it. So again, I'm going back to the 1 hour here. Yeah, and still waiting, just waiting for it to move. So that's kind of staying there. I'm going to kind of go down to here to Euro USD so we can look at this and mark this up.
Yes.
The 4 hour, well, let's see. Is this still live? Yep, that's still in play. I'm just going to mark this as a base so we have this line. Even though it's within a demand zone, I just want to be able to mark it so I know that it's an additional line of support. This is a supply zone as small as it is right there. This is on a 4 hour. And this is typically something I'll do early in the morning, not this time of day. Let me check. Is this one a supply zone? Again, the way we check, we go to the fib and we go to the top of the candle, the base, and go all the way down to the bottom here. This is not, see how it's not, it's not, it did not, if it was right here, it would be good. It'd be less than a 50%, but because it's more than 50%, that does not qualify. So we won't use that one. This one right here, this was a demand zone. Oh, this was a supply zone because you can see there was a gap here. So this was a supply zone that got flipped into a demand zone, and now it got flipped back into a supply zone. So this is I'd call this a 4 hour supply zone flip 2. I'm going to do the same thing we did to the other candle. I'm going to add that 50% line in the middle. White, boom. Okay, and then I'm going to name it save as 4 hour. There we go. Okay, so now going forward, that 50% line will be there. And if this breaches this, then this goes away. Trying to see if we have anything else. Prices, where's price right now? Price is right here. All right, so nothing huge happening there, although we are in the middle of, actually, 4 hour, there's a buy right now. If you see that, Einstein called a buy way back here. And TP1 is all the way up here at 1715, 1.1715. So there's still some ability to jump in on this. because it's pretty solid on the TP1. So 1.1715 take and 1.17065. We'll do that. Okay. God, I hate how Tasty restricts. It really drives me nuts. It's so like if I don't set my stop loss so low to a point that I'm uncomfortable with, it doesn't often let me, which frustrates me. What is the? I already got it, but 1.17. It's fine with the buy 1.5. And I got in at 1.17071. So instead of 0.7, let's do 0.31 and see if it likes that. Yep, took that. Okay. So that's one right there, but this is purely Einstein. That was me just recognizing it. I got in really late in the game, but I do believe it's going to at least go up to here.
Right.
Possibly even here, but I'll take that. Even if it's like, it's a small 0.01 trade. So we're talking about like probably 20, 30 cents. But again, just seeing the pattern and recognizing and pushing the button, that's the main thing that we're trying to do here. Just make sure we build that habit. What about on the daily? Just out of curiosity, anything exciting going on here? Oh, demand zone, supply zone flipped 1, demand zone flipped 2. So this is a demand zone flip 2. Daily demand zone flip 2. There we go. I'm trying to just adjust the size. Okay. So there is some interesting info right there. So we have a small supply zone right here. I'm just going to mark this as a base. Alt J. Resistance line and base. Right here. We already have that as a resistance line and high. Good. We got that as a resistance line and base. I mean, technically, this is a supply zone. It's not your typical looking one. And not really doing much with that right now, but that's marked up and we're good. Quick check on the news. No, that's interesting. Makes sense, huh? If the boats are putting binds into the Strait of Hormuz, that's not good. That could hurt a lot of
They've
people.
already mined it. They're not putting new ones out.
Right.
They already put enough in.
But don't we have drones now that can go and kind of search for them and take some of them out?
I don't
supposedly.
know. I don't know. We have no Navy secretary. Pete had to fire him because the Navy secretary was aligned with he was close to the vice president, J.D. Vance, and he felt threatened.
Yep, that's kind of modus operandi right now. I'm trying to see is that so we got unemployment claims pretty much. I mean, it increased by 3,000, but it's still on par with the forecast for the most part. Let's see. This is better. Let's just look into what that is because that's when I first remember the first time I'm like, what the heck is that? So this is, let's see, the level of diffusion index between surveyed purchasing managers and manufacturing. So basically just looking at the difference between purchasing and manufacturing. So that's slightly up. slightly up. Natural gas storage, that's coming out. Oh, that should have already come out. Let me refresh. Okay. So that's gone up. But it's 103 billion was to under 96 billion. Yep. And obviously, as you can see, red greater than forecast is bad for the dollar. So that would often have an impact on Euro USD and cause Euro to go up, dollar to go down. On the Euro news for the day, positive, negative, slightly positive, oh, decently positive, decently negative, helped pat, negative. These are yellow folders, not as impactful, but these two are important. And one held pretty much steady and one dropped. So, I mean, again, nothing earth shattering right there in that news. In terms of FinViz, let's just update and refresh this so we're all looking at it. The updated information. Okay. MX CEO, our customers don't care about high gas prices. Well, unfortunately, I think a lot of us have just got used to the fluctuating gas prices. And while it stinks, it's just if you have a gas vehicle, you got to pay the price for gas. No one likes it, but there's nothing you can do, and crying about it isn't going to fix anything. How we cover the weight? Let's see. I see a lot of fluff stories here. Yeah, I mean, there's information.
Nothing there that's really changing.
Yeah, nothing that's jumping out at us in terms of concerns. So, again, back to Euro USD, it's about to hit hopefully come back to hit that take profit. It looks like it went up a little bit and then came back down. If I zoom in on that, I was up 37 cents. I'm up 16 cents, 25 cents. So that's very minor, but we're very close to hitting that TP. I'll take that. And before we kind of get out of here for the day, let's go over to gold one more time and see what's going on here. Mark up the 4 hour and the 1 hour. So we have that. Where are we on the 1 hour? Let's see. I think we're in a similar spot to where we were before. Yep. We're staying pretty steady right there. So if I drop down to here, I think we're going to see some consolidation. Yep. So if I go down to the 5 minute, we're going to see consolidation over the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, roughly 30 minutes. There's been a lot of consolidation. Nothing really has happened since we pretty much hopped on. There's a little bit of movement right here, but nothing much is happening right now. We do about to have, as we talked about before, the 66 is crossing the 200. When a 66 crosses the 200 with the 20 above, we do have an E3 cross. So this is actually newsworthy on the 5 minute. What about on the 15? Where are we with the crosses? Blue cross the 66. So both of these would have to cross the 200. And that's not happening yet. So again, the E3 cross, I would actually I'm going to have to talk to Donnie more about this. When this happens on the 1 hour, or on a bigger chart, it's typically a bigger play. I do pay attention on the 5, but as you can see, like right here, when it crossed, it didn't have a major impact. It went up, but it didn't have a major impact. And so on the 5 minute, it's just not as impactful, but it can be. But typically I focus on, let's say, the 1 hour or the 4 hour, or even the 30 minute. If I see an E3 cross happening there, especially if it's happening on multiple time frames, then that's a that's a like an impactful event that we want to be aware of and we want to take action on. Yeah, so right here, I mean, it's just pushing up. I assume it's going to push up to about here and then likely turn around. If not, the highest it would push is to here or possibly to the 66. But again, I would expect it to kind of stay consistent with what we're seeing, unless there's any fundamental news that comes out that's unexpected. By the way, that $1 is up to 60.67 cents on the euro. So that one's pushing. That's a huge winner. Oh, there we go. That's a good movement. See if that can jump up a little bit higher. Yeah. So therefore, that should look at that though. Look at how close that is to, to take profit. My goodness gracious, this is where it can be a little bit frustrating. And when it's more than when it's more than just a few cents, it's a big deal.
Right.
This is gonna. I think this will push through any second now. But I can't tell you how many times I've come like that close, and then
Right.
I jumped out. And then I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. I don't want to. And then it like pushes through or surges through, and then I get frustrated. So now I've just learned to trust my numbers and trust the information.
Did it hit it?
Yep, just hit it.
Okay.
Let's see. What was this big
Wow.
one here?
Look.
79 cents.
Yeah, it's going past. Did you take
Yep.
profit or are you still in?
No, I'm out. I took a TP2. I am pretty strict on my TP2.
Oh, it went to 2. Okay. I didn't
Yep.
realize you had it on 2.
Yeah, that's 2 right there. So 3 was 3 way up there. I don't even see a 3 on this one. Yeah, no, it's you saw when I initially did this a lot. I would kind of try to take it and try to see as much of it I can get. Now I'm pretty consistent. Like I know what I want to get out of it. I'll take what I get, and we'll go on from there. But that account right there, I mean, just I haven't been active with it in about 2 weeks really on the small account. But that account was down. I had that at $25, and now it's back up to 41 even. So I mean, if you think of it in terms of percentages, if that was 2,500, I'd be up to 4,100. So that would be impactful. But all we're doing is just following the system. And as you saw on that trade right there, that was literally just a late recognition of an Einstein call. Yep. Does he have another update? He does. There's another update on Einstein. I did not know there was another update. Okay. But yeah, so I mean that's the main thing that I think I'm looking at for the day. I will look to see on gold, and that's it. I doubt it's going to pull down right now. Nope, that's moving up too. It often does, similar to Euro USD. That's one thing I did notice. And Donnie does say all the time that if you're uncomfortable trading with the balance that's required on gold or with the losses and wins that you could possibly have, most people don't really care how big the wins are, but they don't like the bigger losses. So if you're uncomfortable with that and while you're learning, stay with Euro USD. It's more steady. It's smaller. You can learn to build the right habits, and a lot of those habits do apply to gold. And that's where right here we have the 10, 20, 66, and 200. And then we also have the Einstein scanner enabled. So those are the indicators that I have active right now. And yeah, so I'm not touching this until it drops way back down to the 10. Mm-hmm. So actually that's Bitcoin. Let me go to gold for a sec. Yep. So I'm waiting for it to come all the way back down to here. And if that doesn't happen, that's fine. I'm not getting in.
Exactly.
That stop limit, that buy limit too, also expires at 11 a.m. I only did that for this candle. I'll reevaluate the next candle based on what's going, but I only set that to happen on this candle.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, the bottom line is just you got to stay with it. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to understand that you're going to have some super big highs, and you have to learn how to just deal with the fact that you're going to have some losses, and that's fine. It's just par for the course. So
we leave it with Donnie's words again that he said this morning. Yeah. You have the secrets. Yeah. So we have it. We've got the knowledge.
Right. Yeah. And today we had 50 people on the call, and that's what he said. He's like, my goal is to have 50 people making profit getting on that. So if you're on that, I mean, again, hop on the call 3 days a week. Free money. Hop on the call and copy what he does. Here, let me give you money. If I told you that for 3 hours a week, you're going to learn a skill and you have the ability to earn, I don't know, let's say $100 a week, or let's say $50 a week at the beginning, with the potential to be a lot higher. All you got to do is show up 3 days a week for about 45 minutes. I'd be in. So, and I am in. That's why I'm there. But yeah, that's all we have today. I agree 100%. That's a great way to leave us. And let me sign off and click this away here. If you guys also have any questions that you have based on the stuff that we're talking about, reach out in the comments, send us a note. we'll definitely want to go in and answer the questions. If we go through something too fast or we don't make it clear, let us know. I want to make sure that it's clear and it's understood so you can follow along and take advantage of what we're doing. So just the big thing is engagement. We need you guys to engage so that we can help show you what we're learning and help also take the content and curate it specifically to what you guys are looking for as well, as long as it's in alignment. And if it's not in alignment, we're going to say, sorry, that's out of alignment where we are right now because we're not there yet. We haven't got to that point, but and then we'll go from there. But I don't think that will happen a lot. Anyway, that's all we got for today. I'm going to kick this off and say bye, everyone. Let's stay profitable. And, well, you just got to get busy. So you got to get active. So take that first step and get moving.